evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Lime Rock Park. This is the GT Challenge Season 4, Round 3, September 10th. Yes, I can read, ladies and gentlemen. And no, I am not Ewan. I am Lee D-Man Smith, and joining me, as always, is Paul, a.k.a. Citrix, which I always say wrong, don't I? I always say it wrong, Paul.
One day I'll get it right.
One day soon. So this is the GT Challenge, not the GT Pro. Obviously, GT Pro happens on the Mondays, GT Challenge and the Formula Challenge happens on Fridays, alternatively. So thank you very much for joining us to start with. But Paul, let's get into it. Let's talk about this, because this is your show, really. I'm just a passenger, and we're coming into this one in round 3. How's things been shaking up so far? I do see a name I recognise at the top of the tables at the moment.
Yeah, well, it's been an interesting season, of course, with the 2 rounds gone, and the last round especially interesting with Sebring in the wet conditions led for some crazy racing. But as you say, a very recognisable name at the top of the standings at the moment in Erhan Yovski. Pretty dominant performance from him so far. Estonians managed to win 3 of the 4 races, I want to say, off the top of my head. He's really made his mark this season and shown he wants to get back to GT Pro. Obviously he was last season, and fully expecting another good result from him tonight at Lime Rock Park.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Of course, the drivers are all in the server now, getting the qualification sorted out. If you've just joined us, let me explain the format to you to start with. I think that's what we're going to jump across to. I'm assuming. It is a 15-minute sprint race, followed by a 45-minute main race. Now, the qualification will decide where they start, and now that's important because we will be having a reverse grid. So we'll have the sprint race, that'll be all qualification as standard, as expected. Then we'll go into the main race, and it will still be based on qualification. I know if you've just joined us, if you've not been with us before, it used to be based on the sprint race results. It is not anymore. It is based on the qualification results, and then that is also a top 10 reverse. So, for example, Erhan Yovski on your screen right now, if he were to be in pole position, he will be in pole position for the sprint race and 10th place starting for the main race. That's how it all works out, ain't it, Paul?
It is indeed. So it's going to be vitally important with what sort of strategy you're planning, which race you want to prioritise around Lime Rock Park, especially with it being a track that is quite difficult to overtake around. There's not many passing places around here, and those can be quite tricky. So it is going to be a very important 15 minutes for all these guys to either stick themselves somewhere in the midst of the top 10 maybe, or towards the back end of the top 10 to get a better position to start the main 45-minute race with, or whether they just want to go flat out now and secure themselves pole position for the 15-minute sprint, get themselves a handful of points from that, and then focus on doing some overtakes. That's very wide from Yovski through the final corner.
Still gets it though. Still hits that pole position. Only just though. Look at that, 0.031. So just went over there. Also caught a little bit of traffic, so had to dive out there. Something I noticed actually with Lime Rock, I did manage to. Obviously, I missed covering the show for the GT Pro on Monday, but something I did notice because I'd finished early on my show, so I was managed to watch. Fabian does a perfect example there. The cutting can be pretty mean on that chicane, and as I was watching it, I managed to see Dennis Jordan, who was leading it at the time, actually get himself a drive-through penalty. So that's definitely something we're going to have to watch through this race.
Yeah, absolutely, and that is a very sort of lethal part of the track. It's the curbs around here they're pretty vicious, as you can see. Some of these curbs on the apexes, they're quite high compared to some other purpose-built racetracks you'll see. They're massive concrete slabs, essentially, on the insides of corners, and especially through the chicanes, you've got those little bumps. They're not even really like the sleeping policemen you'll see at some other racetracks. They are just balls of cement, really. And if you don't get your line right, you could wind up having to cut the chicane, as you can see here, because you can clip them a little bit. But if you clip them at the wrong angle, that was a very nice line through there by Philip Dries. But if you get it wrong, you're either going to have to go one side or the other.
Philip is certainly a veteran, been in Challenger for quite a while. This is looking like a fantastic lap from him so far. Maybe out of top out Yayovsky, and absolutely does. A tenth of a second faster. Beautiful lap from Philip Drysdale.
Yeah, so Yayovsky's pace coming under threat already in this session, but 10 minutes to go. I'm sure we'll see plenty of improvements up and down the field as everybody gets that final look in at the track and figures out where they can gain a little bit more time on their laps. As we take a look at Geber Heverseek coming across the line in the mid-20s, and now Joao Senchao in the McLaren. He's had a decent season so far, currently sitting in P13 in the GTRC car, and gained a little and lost a little at the moment on this lap, so still some time to find for Joao Senchao on his next few laps, and they will get a few laps around this track. It is a very, very short track indeed. It's just 47 seconds, so there's plenty of time to find the time and make those gains.
I don't know, man. I find that when it's a smaller circuit, obviously you've got less time. I mean, how many corners has this thing got? It hasn't got too many, has it? It's a 7-corner sort of track, 6 or 7, something like that. I mean, there's really not many in there. So obviously that's really where you obviously gain the time. You hit the apex, make the perfect corner, get yourself back on the accelerator as much as you can. Also, quite a lot of up and downs, relatively flat overall track though, nothing insane like previous circuits, and a much smoother, by the way, than Sebring as well. I'm gonna throw that one out there. Obviously we've had Sebring already. That's also one that always catches people off. Speaking of being caught off, Thomas Vac losing his rear end there in the Porsche briefly. Paul Augustin has been around in Challenger for a very long time, as has Remco Millor. Remco Millor got himself promoted in the last season of the Challenger into the main, and it's great to see he's a staple diet now up there. Did have a little go in the I think he made the qualification, if I'm not mistaken, for the relegation last season as well, but just wasn't able to do it. A couple of names that have been rocking the scene. Alex Baldwin coming in from Los Angeles. God knows what sort of ping he's managed to race on, but he's doing a great job. He's been doing a great job putting his name in there and amongst a lot of the known ones, Paul.
Yeah, absolutely. We've seen some great races from Baldwin so far this season, really stamping his name in the GT Challenge already, and as you can see, sitting in P6 at the moment. And it's not just the ping he has to deal with. My world time zones aren't that great, but I can't imagine it's that late in the day over in America right now. So having to change his schedule around quite a lot as well, I imagine, racing from that far afield. And of course, this is also a bit of a home series of races for him. Of course, we raced in Sebring. We're just 1,300 miles up the coast this week in Connecticut for Lime Rock Park. So maybe considering these home races.
Oof, I think you obviously clattered that curb a little too hard. I'd be surprised if we see this as an improved time. Yeah, there's the yellow sector time, so he'll probably just call this one off and have another go. Maybe he's just setting him sights out there, or maybe even just having a little go with the fuel, who knows. But definitely not going to be a time for him to go here, but he's going to have enough fueled up. You can see he's set a purple final sector just to sort of set his stall out, and let's see if he can go any quicker. No, that's a big no.
Yeah, that's one way to make sure your car gets back to the garage. Maybe in a few more pieces than you might want.
Yeah, you wouldn't be doing that in real life. And actually, speaking, obviously, Erhan has done a fair amount of driving in real life. So, yeah, definitely not something you can do. Or at least you could do it, but good luck going back to your pit crew, because they're not going to be happy with you at all. But Johan Kurjan, somewhat expected a bit more from him. Had a relatively decent challenge season in season 3. I thought he might kick on, along with Henry Sinnick. Henry Sinnick's also a driver that was always in and around the top 10, but always seemed to struggle in qualification. He always seemed to put it together in the race, but never in the qualification. Turkka Hakkinen, of course, had a season in GT Pro, so had a little go in there. Did come down in the relegations. Certainly the driver that's got it about him. And Jimmy Nisula has been around Well, for as long as I can remember throughout the GT, I think all 4 seasons he's been a part of it. So it's great to see some names in it, some new and old names, like Nello Pastorino, I should say. Not a name that I've seen so far, down in 24th at the moment. We'll see whether he can improve. 5 minutes to go on qualifications. And look at that, Christian Mikel has also put himself a time in there now as the 2nd place on the grid, putting Yayovsky and everybody else down 3rd and below.
Yeah, absolutely, and everybody's really getting their eye in now and setting these times, as that was a big clout on the curb there for Turkka Hakkinen. And we'll see if that does slow him down. I imagine it will in the middle sector of the track. Wait for that little bar to appear, but yeah, the pressure's going to be building a little bit for Yayovsky now as we wait to see if he can retake the pole position. Just a 10th separating 1st to 3rd, so there's definitely not a lot in it, as you'd really expect in a track like that. And look at the traffic there as well. As Philip Grice going a bit quicker as well. He's already on pole. He's a little bit further on pole now, 47.1. And now it's well over a 10th between 1st and 3rd. Just as I say it, he proves me wrong.
Yeah, Philip Grice, very nice lap there, especially with the yellow 1st sector. You never really expect it so, but obviously he's like a bit of determination, but a grit, put his foot down there. His stepbrother also obviously races. The 2 Thrices have been a staple part. This is, I'm going to say, was looking good, but clouted. It does seem that the chicane there is really the deciding factor on like whether you have a great lap or a bad lap at the moment. Watching Yayovsky as he manages to kiss the apex beautifully there, works it round, just a little swing out wide, riding all the curves, looking very good. But again, yellow in that 1st sector, and here it is through the middle sector, clout, but he kind of got it to bounce his car back into shape, I felt like there. So while he did hit and clatter that 1st corner, it did put him out, and you can see a 2nd adrift. Such a huge gap in the 2nd sector there for Yayovsky.
Yeah, and we were I was going to say we were praising Adam Baldwin a little while ago for racing from America and how he might make this his home race. He could be looking at pole position if the rest of the lap's as good as his 1st sector was. As we head down towards the line, we'll wait and see what the lap time was. It was 5th place, so lost a bit of time in the middle perhaps around that chicane, which has captured so many drivers out so far. We take a look at Christian Mikel crossing the line. One of the 4 Citroën Nitto Velux cars that have been sort of mobbing around Yayovsky a lot of the season so far, and really taking the challenge to him at the front. We've seen plenty of battles with each one of those drivers and Yayovsky. Nello Pastorino is now improving.
Christian Mikel is one of those drivers that honestly, he could easily have been automatically promoted to GT Pro, I felt, last season. Got caught out in a bit of a calamity. I don't know if it was the 5th or 6th race, but either way, it was completely clattered while he was up in, I think it was 3rd place, got clouted and ended up way down, and obviously that was another one that he had to miss out on after having a disastrous race. And of course you can remove one race. You know, everybody has a bad race. You're allowed to remove their 1 race score. I think Turkka Hakkinen is going to back out of that one because he's already kind of had to abort in that corner almost. But everybody getting their eyes in. 1 minute 30 to go, so get themselves out on the track. Still plenty of time. I think with this is probably the most laps in a qualifying session. I think it is, because it's a 47-second lap. Everybody's smashing it out there. That was a huge chunk of the corner taken by Turkka. I don't think that will count.
Yeah, I think given the 1st sector time, he may have been doing a little bit of experimentation there, see maybe what he can get away with. As that's a great 1st sector from Philip Grice. He's going from strength to strength on this circuit so far. We've seen him put in a pole time, improve the pole time, and now it looks like he's going quicker than, as I said, that it looked like quite the clout on the 1st apex and has backed out of that lap. But now Yayovsky's going quicker in the 1st sector, and again, how's he going to do the chicane? Looked okay, perhaps. Has he backed out, or is he continuing?
Oh, that's a purple. This is looking good. This is looking very good at the moment. So purple second sector. Could Erhan steal the glory? 30 seconds to go in qualification here as he comes to the line. What will it be? It'll be a 47.094. He steals pole position away from Philip Dries there. Incredible stuff with 20 seconds to go. And Dries already pulled out of his lap. I don't think he's got a chance to bite back on that one. I think that has been a last-minute steal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Dries will be kicking himself that he aborted that lap in the way he did. We saw him pull off the track. If he'd have carried on, he might have gotten another lap in before the end of the session. Maybe he thought he was safe. And he's lost that pole position now to Erhan. So great last-minute opportunistic steal from Yuyovsky, and Dries now will be looking to try and get past him.
Hold on a minute. Christian Mikel, purple in the first sector. Let's see what he can do. I think he's pulled out. Oh, it's telling you, it's all about that chicane. And that is going to be qualification pretty much done with. Is there anyone else going to improve their times? Daniel Stepkowski at the moment around the track looking to get anything improved. Looks like it's not going to happen for Jakovic. He's pulling in as well. That is the Porsche pulling in. Adam Baldwin, will he improve his 5th place? No, he will not. That will be it and done. As far as I can tell, I think everybody is now done on the track. So, wow, a little cheeky steal from Erhan Yuyovsky on the last lap. I mean, if there's a time you're going to do it, that is it. Maybe he had that banked all along. I don't know. But to steal it away like that and have no recompense is always a quality sign. And the question is, will anybody be able to catch him? So he's going to be starting out pole position. Philip Dries, of course, needracing.com in second place. Christian Mikel and Turka Hakkinen of the Citroën Nitor Velux, as you pointed out. 2 of 4 cars, I think, on the grid as well. Adam Baldwin, 5th place. David Kalokse. My brain won't be able to get used to that one. For the Mugen Sim Racing, Henry Sinek and Jimmy Nisula of Satellite Racing, Rory McDuff in 9th place, also the Citroën Elix, and Daniel Stokowski, as we just saw in the Porsche there for Madman. Joao and Asensio. Oh my God, I'm going to get so confused because there's a footballer almost of that same name. Used to play for Real Madrid. GTC Race Center in 11th place. Matteo Krupi for Musto in 12th. Matteo De Krop of One Move. And Robin Panzer down in 14th position. Expected him to be a little bit higher than that from the Burst Esports. He's certainly had a great season last year. Zoltan Varkonyi and in a 15th place for Mugen. Also, Daniel Canistracci from Team YTF1. That's quite specific. In 16th place, Fabio Baal and Johan Kirchen, who actually improved his time in 17th and 18th for virtual drivers by TX3. Giuseppe Pastori also from Musto in 19th, and Paulo Castellana for Volanti down in 20th place. And for the final 10 drivers on the grid, if you please. There we go. Nico Barkley, taco time! Down in 21st. I really expected a bit more from Nico Barkley, a veteran of the scene by now. Nicola Pastore down in for Musto in 22nd. Thomas Vac down in 23rd for Madman, or Mad 4 Mini, not Madman. Sorry, apologies. Nilo Pastorini for Satellite also down in 24th. Cameron, hello! In 25th. I didn't realize Cameron was on the grid for Burst Esports, my former commentator for the BMW series. Gabor Hevesi for the McLaren on 22nd. Remco Major for his own team, Major with 69 nice on the side. Jan Veniger for Sifat Performance in 28th. And Roman Jakovic for Black Hawk Racing down in 29th position. Just around about a second separating the entire field there, Paul. It's pretty close here at Lime Rock.
It is, and it's one of those tracks where it seems like, because of how short it is, a second doesn't seem like that much, but in reality it's going to cause quite a difference around Lime Rock Park. Of course, a second around somewhere like Spa, that's not really a lot. It's quite a long lap time. A second around Lime Rock Park, that is a good chunk of a lap. So there is a bit of distance between them, but up the top it's still very, very close between all the drivers, and it's going to be exciting to see how they manage to make this session work for them with the feature race and how difficult it is to overtake, especially with those towards the sort of the back end of the top 10. Are they going to maybe try and they've got to try and get through as many places as they can, but they will then start in pole position for the feature race, which will give them a better chance there. So it's all about trying to damage control the points as much as you can here as we take a look at the GT Challenge Series Season 4 format. We've just seen the 15-minute qualifying with unlimited laps. I'll be happy it's unlimited laps on a track like this, because if it was limited, they wouldn't really get to do much for 15 minutes. Then we do have the 15-minute sprint race, which is coming up, which is in that qualifying order. And then immediately after that, we have the 45-minute main race, which is the qualifying results again, but with the top 10 from qualifying flipped around, as we've said. And P10 in qualifying then starts on pole for the main race. Of course, this series is open for everybody, with the multiple splits of racing happening every Friday for GT Challenge and for the Formula Challenge. And you've got the full range of GT3 cars to choose from in here. Of course, the GT Pros you see on a Monday, they are just in the GTE cars. Here they can choose whatever GT3 cars you want from the 10 different manufacturers. And of course, not to mention on the side there, the bonus prize pool that is new for this season as well. So as the GT Pro drivers start racking up the penalties, they get their prize money deducted, and that trickles down into the GT Challenge, and at the end of the season, that will go to the top drivers in this series as well. There's a little extra incentive to try and get into those top positions. So there's great racing up ahead of us with the 15-minute sprint race, Lee.
Yeah, some incentive to be a little bit cleaner in your racing as well. Of course, you know, everybody wants a clean race. You don't want to see some torpedoes in corners. Of course, this is the road to the GT Pro Season 5, which will be happening, I don't know, somewhere down the line, I guess. And of course, at the end of the season, the top 5 will be automatically promoted from GT Challenge directly into GT Pro. And trust me, my friends, that is what you want to do, because if you don't, if you're in that 6th to 10th, you are in a shootout with some of the drivers from GT Pro that will finish down in, I think it's 21st to 25th, isn't it, that happens from there. So, and then 26th to 30th will automatically drop down, which is why you're seeing some names like Hanya Yovsky, 2 times GT Pro champion, who came down last season due to, just simply not doing very well in the Radical in last season. And, of course, rising through the splits, you guys at home, if you are all competing, then there is a chance you could find your way into the GT Challenge. It is not a closed book, as you can see, after practically every round 3, round 4, round 5, round 6, all results will determine exactly where you are in those splits. So there is a chance, if you are a very good hot racer, you could work your way up into GT Challenge and then maybe, just maybe, find yourself in the GT Pro against the very best of rFactor 2 who are currently racing. Here are the current results, as you can see, from both Monza and Sebring. Of course, we are at Lime Rock now, and you can see we're going to be going into Loc Dromond, I think it is, and then Sandefjord, and finishing off in Indianapolis. So lots of points still on the board for these drivers. As you can see, Hanya Yovsky at the top of the table. Would not expect anything else. He's no longer limited to his car choice, so he can drive whatever he prefers. And Christian Michael, I fully expect him to go up this season. As I say, he was a little unlucky, I felt, in the previous season. Just missed out on the automatic promotion and ended up losing out, having a really bad time in the promotion relegation. I believe Robin Panzer was also in that as well. But a lot of names, as I say, that are in and around there. Now, remember, as you look at these points, the top 5 will be automatically promoted. 6th down to 10th, they will be into a knockout. But we have 4 more rounds before we get ahead of ourselves. And Paul, is there any names in there you're expecting to maybe rise in the ranks that have been a little unfortunate in the first 2 races?
Yeah, I mean, you can see from some of the results from the first round to the second round, P10, you got Liam Rand, Sultan Vakonyi, and Giuseppe Pastore. They scored a decent haul of points in the first round, and they've They dropped a few in the second round, so if they make a bounce back and towards the end of the season, they may be able to pull themselves up and into their chance to fight for GT Pro for next season. So that could be coming our way later on in the season. Adam Baldwin seems to be going from strength to strength. A bit of a off result in Sebring, but we've seen already he's got decent pace here at Lime Rock. We could end up with a good result from him as well this evening. And then, of course, you've got the Citres, Nitor, Velux boys. You've got Christian Mikel and Turka Akinen there in second and third. Will we see them get a race win in GT Challenge and a bigger haul of points than they've seen so far? Going a little bit further down, you can see down the back end, you've got the likes of Daniele Canestracci, dropped a good haul of points in the Sebring round as well. Most everyone, I think, scoring a little bit lower last time out. A few of them scoring a lot less than others. And you've got, of course, looking at it the other way around, Mattia Krupi down in 17th, gained more points from Sebring, so where a lot of people lost out, he's managed to gain a few more and maybe on the rise as well.
And as you can see, we do go down to 45th place. Yes, there's 45 drivers on there that have scored points over the time. Of course, some are obviously being promoted, etc. They've come in there from the lower seeds. Now, if I'm not mistaken, I'll double check and clarify this. If they have come up from effectively what is GT Challenge 2 or GT Challenge 3, etc., you know, there's many divisions further below, then they'll probably be on 75% points and then 50% points, etc. That's how it used to work in previous seasons. I'm assuming it's similar, which is why some people that will have won races will be coming up and won't have, say, 110 points like you obviously did for the first race. They will have a 75 percentile off that, etc., etc. Obviously, it's only fair that obviously the top guys in there will carry the most points. It kind of suck if somebody came up from GT Challenge 2 and had more points than Yovsky does at the top of the table. We're like, hang on a minute, this isn't right. But anyway, I digress. As you can see, race is about ready to go. So we're going to be starting off, and it will be a 15-minute sprint race to get things going based on obviously the qualification you just saw. Then we will move on to a 45-minute main race. Now, I also want to get across to you, if you are a GT Pro viewer, they do not need to make a pit stop in this. And as you already pointed out, they're in GT3 cars, not the GTEs. So as opposed to, I think they have 6 choices in the GTE, they have around about 13 different choices in the GT3. So lots of variation, which is what was great to see out there, Paul, because in previous years we have had around about 23 Callaway Corvettes on the circuit before. So I just judging by qualification there was quite a few McLarens and Audis I did notice. A couple of Bentleys also floating around in the corners.
Yeah, so far we have pretty much seen dominance from either the McLarens or the Audis, you know, with one being better for qualifying and one having a little bit more race pace. As you say, there are a couple of the Bentleys around as well, which will add an extra trick if you need to get past one around here. Of course, I'm not being quite wide. And then I think there was one Corvette, kind of stretchy. But there is our grid for the sprint race then. And Yovsky lining up on pole with Philip Dreiss alongside him. Down onto 5th and 6th, you got Adam Baldwin and David Kaloksai, with Henry Cynic and Jimmy Nisler, those 2 satellite racing guys, starting in 7th and 8th behind him. Roy McDuff in another one of the Saitona Cetres Nito Velux cars in P9, with Daniel Stupkowski for Matt Femini in 10th. Yara Senchau outside the top 10, just about. And then behind him, you've got Matteo De Crop for one move, and Robin Pansar in the Burst Esports car in 14th, with Zoltan Viconia and Daniele Canestracci, as I say, in that Corvette. Just behind Fabian Bala and Johan Kurjan, locking out 17th and 18th for the virtual drivers by TX3, with Giuseppe Pistori and Paul Auguslana rounding out the top 20. In the back 10 then, Nico Barclay and Nicola Pistori starting in 21st and 22nd, with Thomas Vac and Nilo Pastorino, 23rd and 22nd for Mad Femini and Satellite Rating respectively. Cam Roger, our very own, starting 25th, just ahead of Gabor Hevesi in his McLaren, with Remco Major and Jan Vennegat in 27th and 28th. Finally, rounding out the back of the grid, Roman Jakubovic for Blackhawk Racing, starting right at the very back. So there's plenty of cars on the track on what is a very, very short track. It's only, 1.5 miles. I can see cars catching other cars very, very quickly around here.
Yeah, it really surprised me to see Kubovic down the back, actually, because he's a driver that we've seen in the top 10 multiple times before. But here we go. It's going to be a rolling start around the back, and it's not going to take very long because we're already underway. That is Yuyovsky taking the lead. Of course, Philip Dries alongside him, gets the inside line and absolutely blasts on through. Should be able to hold the front as well, and will take front position from Yuyovsky. Christian Mikel, and look at Adam Baldwin's run as well. An absolute stormer for him. He's managed to get past Kalaxi in there. Henry Sinek and Jimmy DeSulu in 6th and 7th, already working their way up there as they go through the chicane. A cracking start for Philip Dries.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought Yuyovsky might be able to come back at him, as we're seeing them still squabbling all the way up the hill. This is the battle now for 10th place with 5 cars all involved, and there is that single Corvette of the series chasing down De Crop just ahead, and side by side through the final corner, and this could be a great steal from Jan Kurjan.
Oh God!
Right on the bumper of the Audi, but he's boxed in. He can't really go to the left. He can't go to the right because he's still got a car alongside him. There it is.
That's Paul Agaslada on the inside, yeah. The big Bentley. You're not going to wrestle with that, are you? You're not going to bump with the Bentley, that's for sure. It won't let you pass. But we can see how tight they're having to be on the brakes as well. But what a start on a track that actually is very hard to overtake. For Philip Dries to get ahead like that is an absolute cracker of a move. Stakowski, by the way, up into 9th as well. He will be starting on pole position in the main race, so keep your eyes, see how well he scores as the race will progress. Christian Mikel, though, under pressure a little bit from Adam Baldwin. He's starting to catch on there, and it does look like the field is starting to feather out a little bit, so it's going to be stretching more and more, and you can see just how quick they're working out there immediately. This is going to be such a tough race for people to get past. I know. Let's face it, it's a 47-second lap. There's really one place they're going to be able to get past, and that is just after the start-finish line, because it is quite a twisty, turny, slow track. Well, not slow, it's a fast track, but it's the corners. There's no big, long straights to get the drag on, right? I mean, you come out of the downhill if you do not make that exit. But the problem is, it's such an easy final corner, Paul, that I really don't think anyone can go wrong on it.
Yeah, I mean,
look at it. It's just flat out. You're just flat out.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say, it is pretty much full throttle all the way around the downhill section, around what is, I think I've got it down as my corner number 9 of the circuit, if you count the chicane as 3. I think most track maps will count it as maybe turn 7, and that was a bit of a dive for Renko Major there.
Yeah, that did.
Bentley on Bentley.
Oh, he's wedged between cars. Teammates. Yeah, the TX3s is wedged between them. So did he torpedo his way in between? I don't know, but it is all the big Bentleys and some very colourful scheme coming out of Remco this year. I love it.
Yeah, the rainbows on the sides and the side of the wings. You're definitely not going to miss him coming in your rearview mirrors. A Bentley with those colours on, of all things. But now it is you say a Bentley sandwich. As we take a look at a replay, this is going to be the very start, and this was how Philip Dries took the lead then. He had the inside line from starting P2, and Yuyovsky just going out a little bit wide, and he couldn't get the purchase. I thought he might be able to come back at him because he then has the inside line for 2, but he just couldn't get a drive. That little bit of contact, I think, upset the car, and then he was out onto the grass and dirt, and that really ruined it. And even Christian Mikel having a little bit of a look there as well. This is the send then from Renko Major. Looked like he got past one of the TX3 cars already just beforehand and decided to try his hand at getting past the other one. Very, very nearly outbraked himself. Yeah,
a bit of a torpedo, that one. Absolutely. I mean, I guess that's the best end you can go. And if I'm not mistaken, wasn't Remco one of Ruben's drivers last season? I don't know. I'm just saying. To get a bit of screen time for Remco Major there, former one of his drivers. But the man obviously behind the production that's running everything right now that you're seeing on your screen. Not Philip Dries, by the way. He's not running everything. But at the moment on the track, he kind of is. A nice start from him. Got himself in the lead. And it was really these two drivers that were fighting for that pole position the whole way through. It was, in fairness, Yuyovsky that stole it with 30 seconds to go in qualification. Christian Mikel has backed away a little bit from that one, but look at this, a challenge further down, a bit of a train forming here, Paul, Kalaksey just backing them up, it seems. Henry Cynic and Jimmy Nisula all begging to get past in those McLarens.
Yeah, and that's the thing around here, of course, with it being so difficult to overtake. If you haven't quite got the pace of the guys behind, they're going to struggle to get past, and you're going to end up with these trains forming, which then means you're not just trying to drive looking ahead of you, you've got to worry about the guy behind that's climbing into your rear end as well. Because as you can see, the two satellite racing cars driving very, very close together as well. I'm sure that Henry Cynic would want to get past Kalaksey as soon as he can to remove the threat of anybody behind getting past, but he just can't manage to do it at the moment. And further back, here's Mathieu Krupi. In fact, this is McDuff looking at Mathieu Krupi. Just there's nowhere to overtake around here, except for, as you say, maybe turn one or a very, very brave send somewhere, maybe at the chicane under braking. It's just all about the run out of the final corner, and this was the run out of the final corner for Rory McDuff. He got the better drive, pulls alongside. Can he slow it down in time? That's the question.
Oh, that was beautifully done.
A little bit.
Really nicely done there as well. You know, he made sure he parked himself in the middle of the track. There was no sort of undercut to come back on him. He wasn't going to get the switch back at all. So very nice overtake in the end. You can see how defensive Krupi was, won in that 10th position, but that was a beautiful little move. And as we say, there's not many chances, but that was a brilliant exit for Rory McDuff there coming out of the corner and down the downhill. So brilliantly done. Squeezed as much and as fairly as I think he could go there, but really well executed. Almost lost another place there to, I think it's Asensio that's up behind him.
Yeah, Asensio sniffing around there as well, looking if there may have been a move on, as we do see Pastorino picking up a penalty. And I'm presuming that's going to be for those corner cuts we were talking about a little bit earlier on, as they are very new around here. But this is still the battle for the lead. Now, we saw a little bit earlier on, Philip Dreiss was setting fastest lap times. But Yowski's not letting him get away. He's been keeping that gap under a second pretty much the entire race, and he's slowly getting closer and closer, and maybe he's looking for a weakness in Dreiss's race so far. Just about half distance in the sprint race. He's had that half distance now to sort of analyse how Philip Dreiss is driving, maybe pick apart a weakness to try and close in and apply that pressure even more, and sniff out a move.
Yeah, he's definitely gained time, hasn't he, over the last two laps. It was about 0.7 adrift, was down to 0.5 there. You can see it's sort of in and around there at the moment. So definitely closing in on that McLaren. It's great to see the McLaren now is racing out one another. Further down the field, you can see there's also a couple of McLarens also in the tow. But as you're talking about, you know, the pressure, you could exude it and maybe force one of those cuts too many. And the drive-throughs will certainly be given out. As I pointed out in the GT Pro last Monday, absolutely was. Dennis Jordan getting himself a drive-through penalty for the Red Bull team. He was leading the race at the time, so the pressure continued to be exerted. Yowski was a little sloppy on the exit, though, of the corner back there. We're going to have a look at Pastrano. This is going to be one of the cuts, so drive-through was given for him. That was just a wide. I mean, he certainly didn't gain an advantage off that, so I hope he didn't get a drive-through off that.
That would be incredibly unfortunate if that was what triggered the drive-through, because as you say, going on the grass like that, you're not going to have to purchase, you're not going to gain anything. So, incredibly unfortunate for him so far. And, just more, more fighting going on further down the field. As we take a look at, this is the battle, Stepkowski, Rory McDuff and Krupi, all the way back. In fact, this is the battle for 9th position, and you can see the gaps on the side there. It's a little bit of a drop back to Yao Asensio, and then Pansar Duprop as well, also involved in this battle in one way or another. That's a bit wide for Stepkowski.
Hello, is that off?
Very wide for that's one of the satellite cars. Is that Cynic's gone off?
Cynic off, yeah. And bear in mind, it was obviously Rory McDuff, that we saw taking over Krupi earlier. So he is really making some moves. So while everybody else is struggling to get past, he's absolutely on it right now. But as you say, Henry Cynic going very, very well wide there. He was in 6th place, so he's gone down to 8th place, now losing out to Nisula and Tucker Hakkinen, both getting past him there. You see how much that Porsche rides that corner there, taking off all 4 wheels off the ground there. But McDuff is the one that's been trying to make moves here in the Audi. Some great exits for him once again, very much tucked under that Porsche 911. Let's see what he can do. Is he going to try and make a move? Don't think so, not close enough just yet. You're going to have to really be on it and force the other driver right. Let's have a look. This is going to be Henry Cynic then. You can see, yeah, just completely lost that back end there. That's what forced him down there. He was on the back end of 6th place there. So in the end, losing 2 places to a unforced error.
Yeah, and not quite able to save it in the same way we saw in the GT Pro on Monday with, I believe it was Ibrahim Khan having a massive moment through turn 1 on the first lap of one of the 2 races there and managing to save it. Not quite the same luck there for Cynic, who loses a couple of positions and now has a bit of work to do to get back to where he was chasing after Turka Hakkinen. But this battle is still brewing here. McDuff looking to gain more positions as he closes right up to the back of that Porsche up ahead. You can see just a little way down the road, and Stokowski was going wide here last lap. Could that be a result of the pressure being exerted on him now by McDuff? The line games are going to come into play perhaps more here than on some other circuits, of course, with there being less chances to overtake. A lot more focus is on, can you force a mistake from the guy ahead of you to make that even easier? But you can see he's sniffing around all over the place, McDuff, now, but he has to be careful because now Groupie is all over the back of him.
Yeah, it was a bit earlier on the brakes there, and I think he caught Groupie off guard there. Penalties coming through. De Krop getting a penalty there. There was one before that which actually missed. I just caught a glimpse of it as it disappeared off. So penalties, that's a penalty for 13th place, De Krop. So not ideal for him. And looking at Stokowski, by the way, in that Porsche, he will be starting on pole position in the main race. And as Ibrahim Khan, who I'm not sure he'd be happy that you just reminded him, since he is in chat, about his error. He did catch it, at least. He will be obviously starting on pole, and that's an error. That is a big error from McDuff there, getting too close to that tail and a little unsettled there. And look at that, Robin Panzer's right on the back of him already, and Groupie going past, retaking his 10th position.
Yeah, so all that work done so far by Rory McDuff completely undone by that mistake going into turn 3. Just losing the back end a little bit, and it is tricky around here to do that as we take a look at a replay of that exact moment, in fact. And yeah, just a little bit of oversteer, having to correct it, forcing him out wide, and losing the position, and having to do it all over again.
He caught it quick, but not quick enough. Groupie was through, and Groupie's having a little peek here to see if he can get up into 9th position. Stokowski already backing them up. Oh no, Cameron's got a penalty, boys. Cameron Roger, what have you done from First Esports? He, of course, had maybe been caught by the cutting as well. He's down in 25th, I think it was, where he started. So a little bit further down the grid at the moment, that's for sure. But a penalty for him. A few of them being served now. And it just goes to show, Paul, I mean, we're only, 13 minutes into this race. We've got a 45-minute race to come up. There is a lot of cutting penalties already coming through. What is going on there? Stokowski a little bit on the grass there, going a little bit haphazard. Let's have a look at the replay. It's a beautiful slide, but it's going to have to be a catch, unfortunately, for Rory McDuff. You can see off the power. Oh, my God, panic mode, full slide.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie, when I saw that slide happen, I was thinking, how long is it going to take Ruben to get the slow-mo of that up? But there it is.
Oh, Groupie's done the same.
Audis. Yeah, he's obviously seen what McDuff's done and thought, that looks fun, I'll have a go.
Oh, I don't think you're going to be able to squeeze or force anything there, I'm afraid, Mr. McDuff. And Panzer absolutely looking to see if he can benefit from this one. Just a minute to go. That equates to around about 2 laps here, with a 47-second lap time average at the moment, certainly in the qualification, so probably about 48 here at race pace. That's again McDuff going very wide. Panzer certainly will be able to get past here, and he will just drive on by on the straight.
Yeah, so showing just how important a good exit is off of the downhill, and just driving straight past Rory McDuff. It's gone from bad to worse, really, for him, as he's been slowly losing out after making some moves earlier on in the race. Meanwhile, further up, Christian Mikel coming under pressure from Adam Baldwin. He's already made it 1 move this race, now looking to try and get himself onto a podium in this sprint race, but he's not got a lot of time to think about doing it, because we've only got 26 seconds left and we're on to the last lap. Yovski gets a penalty.
I mean, we've been talking about this, and this will give both Christian Mikel and Adam Baldwin a absolute boost going into the final lap. Yayovsky, a penalty out of the blue. He wasn't even challenging Dries. So I don't even know. I mean, it just must have made a cut too many, and we've been talking about that. I fully expect to see more like that in the main race. As we close out the sprint race here, it will be Philip Dries taking a well-earned win. Took the place at the start. You know, it is always a tricky one. I've got to be honest, at Lime Rock, obviously, you know, starting out on pole, it's never the strongest position sometimes. Sometimes you want that second place. And, well, Philip Dries has absolutely made the most of that. Yayovsky having to go in and try and serve that penalty. Oh, it's going to be painful. Down goes Baldwin up into third place. Any more going to pass Yayovsky? He will go down into sixth in the end, I think it was, where he went down. And, oh, what a disaster for Ilhan Yayovsky. But great news for everybody else who's gained a position out of that. So really going to be happy with that. I think everybody will be a little bit surprised probably when they saw that popping up in the final lap. A little bit of chance here. Jan Vennegaard is going to be able to defend. Yes, he will do. So Joao will go over. So Stokowski finishing 8th in the end. He will be starting out on that pole position. I believe, was it? It's not McDuff, is it? That's going to be... I can't think who was going to be alongside him. I don't think it's Nisulu and Sinek because they were 6th and 7th. It may be Turko Hakkinen, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to double check as we get into it in the end there. But yeah, wow. Big surprise at the end of the race. Philip Dries, first place, 19 laps completed. That's incredible. 19 laps in 15 minutes. Christian Mikel, second place for Nitor Velex. Adam Baldwin up into third, gaining places, of course, along with Kalaxi there, all because of Yayovsky going and serving his penalty. He is out of the top 10. Incredible from second place. Jimmy Nisula, Satellite Racing in fifth place. Turko Hakkinen for Sito Nitor Velex as well in sixth. Henry Sinek for Satellite in 7th. Stokowski for Mini Motorsport in 8th place. Robin Panzer in the end. Some great overtakes for him. Gets himself up into 9th position. And Rory McDuff, he's going to be absolutely livid because, of course, with that little slip and slide he had there. But what happened? What happened to 11th place? What happened to him? He's disappeared. So this is the cuts. Let's have a look. So, is that really the final one? On the last lap that gave him the drive-through? That's painful. You didn't gain anything from that. He went wide on the grass. Oh, come on. I just want to know, what happened to the man that was behind them? He's gone off the track. He's gone completely. Krupi, 26th. He was running in, 10th, 11th. So what happened with Krupi on the final lap? I do not know. But he definitely had a bit of a problem in there. Did he get a penalty as well? He must have. Yeah,
I assume so, because he's down.
That may have been the penalty I missed. In there. So yeah, wow. I mean, obviously, serving a penalty, especially on a track like this, that is only 47 seconds, you're basically lapped. There's nothing else you can do about it, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, as you were saying, like for Yayovsky coming into the pits at the end of the final lap and just having to see all of your competitors going blasting past you at like full racing speed, that's the most painful thing. But not quite as painful as what appeared to have triggered it. Just a little bit of a mistake on the downhill on the penultimate lap absolutely ruined his race. So with 45 minutes to go, and it's worth saying as well, that little mistake came when he wasn't under pressure. He wasn't pressuring anybody. It just naturally happened at the end of the race. So he's going to have to be extra careful now as he's starting from 10th position and will have to fight through to get points. And it's going to be even more vital that he does that now, having not scored any really in the first race.
Yeah, and as we saw, overtakes, they can happen and they will happen. Maybe even if just because someone's had an error, basically, more than ever. That was what a lot of it was coming from. A lot of, I don't think, and I saw chat saying maybe the R8's rear tyres were going off already, but I don't think they're going to be going off in 13 minutes of driving, or at least I would hope not. In which case, I'll be back to the tyre manufacturer saying, what's going on? These are going to last 45 minutes in a minute. I want to know what's going on, but so it's going to be very interesting. Lots of unforced errors, I would say, throughout that one. So with the 45-minute race, Just to confirm, you guys, if you just joined in chat, that was our first sprint race. We're now into the 45-minute main race. The top 10 qualified from the qualification, not from the sprint race, from the qualification, will reverse the top 10, which means Stepkowski will be starting in pole position, Yayovsky down in 10th. So the full flip coming in there. A couple of highlights already from that race for me was, of course, we got to keep our eye on it, the very first corner. Remco Major just having a bit of a warm-up there and a very big cut in that warm-up. That's not what to do when you go in there. But you know what? Penalty. You know what? He's in the Bentley. He didn't really notice the curbs anyway.
No, I think that's going to be the thing. Not realizing you've hit the curbs. What was that? Nothing. That thing. You could hit anything. I think in one of those Bentleys, you wouldn't ever notice. They're boats. It's a road-going boat. But still mighty quick nonetheless, and having some good battles between them in the sprint race as well. We saw, of course, this man Remco Major separating the two TX3 cars in a bit of a battle midway through the 15-minute race, and that's a bit more like it through the chicane this time.
Yeah, just getting used to it with obviously race pace fuel on board. Nicola Pastori in the Audi, isn't it? Side on. The McLaren and the Audi look so similar in the side on. Yeah, I was going to say, is it the McLaren or the Audi? From the side on view, they look so similar. When you see them from the front or the side or any other angle, you're like, oh, okay, that's easy. But yeah, especially with the way the McLaren's been covered up with the what's the word I'm after? The paint job. That's not really the livery. That's the word I'm after. Yeah, paint job. Don't quite cut it. With the liveries on there, that do look spectacular. By the way, I'm going to throw it out there. But yes, see whether Nicola can get any better. She finished down in 20th, I think it was, somewhere around there. So hopefully she can improve her time as everybody gets used to this. Very interested to see as the track does rubber in whether everyone's. This is where a lot of people were losing it. These particular corners there was a lot of rear tire slide coming out there. Turkka Häkkinen certainly did very well in the first race. And if I'm not mistaken, he's starting somewhere near the front this time around. He was definitely around about 8th, 9th, 10th, somewhere around there. He was 8th or 9th, I'm sure of it, in the qualifications. So be very interested to see whether he could maybe make a move for, of course, the Sita Nitor Velux driver. One of 4 drivers on the grid today, Paul, and they've all been posting some pretty good times.
Yeah, it's been a common theme of this series so far. Is the CNV drivers all going very, very well, and I think we saw Sebring last round out. We saw at least 3 of the 4 of them kind of forming a roadblock in the main race for Yayovsky to make his way through, as they're all lined up right next to each other on the grid. So they've definitely got the pace out there this season. Turkka Häkkinen is done with that bit of the warm-up, so we'll take a look at Joran Kurjan.
Oh, a bit of volume. Let's have a bit of volume. Yes. Let's see what this bad boy sounds like.
Well, hearing from all the different cars there, we heard the Audi, the McLaren, and the Bentley. So a little taste of what all the engines can do. I think the only ones we didn't really hear there were the Porsche and the one lone Corvette that we've got. But still a nice selection of engines to satisfy your earbuds, if that's even a word.
I mean, it's car porn, basically, is what it is. Ruben's just giving us flat-out car porn. That's what he's gifting us right there. Adam Baldwin, what a drive for him from 5th up to 3rd in the end. So continuing his points blaze that he's been doing, looking solid so far, of course, has been doing fantastically well in the first 2 races and looking to improve his time here. He's going to be starting out in shock horror 6th position because he started out 5th, of course, and it will be a reverse grid, so not too much further for him. Already going to look to improve it, obviously getting that overtake early on. Cameron Roger, give him a bit better screen time as he goes off the track. My co-commentator from the BMW M2 CS Cup race that we did last season, and a veteran of the scene here at Burst Esports as well. So great to see him in GT Challenge this year.
Yeah, a little bit camera shy, I think, there. As soon as it switches to him, the curse of the spectator goes on him and makes a bit of a mistake, realises things. I wonder if he knew he was on camera and thought, I'm just going to go back to the garage now.
Don't watch me. Yeah.
Don't watch me. So instead, we'll watch Fabian Bala. We've seen one of the virtual drivers by TX3 Bentleys in this warm-up, and now we're seeing another one and getting some practice in the Bentley, and again, look very nice and smooth through the chicane there actually for Fabian Bala. So if they can manage that through the race a few times, they might be able to pick up some places just on other drivers getting penalties alone. As I'm sure we're going to see a few once the main 45-minute race starts, which will be happening very, very soon. Just a couple of minutes left in this warm-up, and then we'll be lining up ready to go.
Christian Mikel on your screens here. He will be starting out in 7th place on the grid. After a great qualifying for him, he was obviously 3rd in qualifying. It will be the reverse grid, so 7th place start for him. Certainly did very well, gets himself 2nd place in the main race after Yovski's penalty on the final lap. Gave him a boost onto the podium. He was already on it, 3rd, but got himself 2nd place finish. He is currently 2nd in the championship as well, with a chance to pass Yovski, by the way. If he does well, he could be the championship leader if all goes well, and well, actually probably is so far. I think he was only 3 points behind, so almost certainly will be ahead of Yovski now after that sprint race points finish. So let's see if we can improve that and go into the next race at Lime Rock? No, we're at Lime Rock now, at Loch Dramond, right? Next race at Loch Dramond, which will be a Thursday race, if I'm not mistaken. Bit of a change on that one. But we'll show you the schedule for that later on in the day. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But yeah, Christian Mikel doing a fantastic job. He could be championship leader coming out of this race, and that will be something I don't think he was expecting.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it may have been in the back of his mind coming in, like if I get a couple of good results, I could go out of here ahead of Erhan, but maybe not in the forefront of his mind until maybe now. Maybe he hasn't even put a thought to it yet. Of course, focus on keeping it on the grey stuff as best he can to not pick up those penalties. Maybe hasn't realised, and that could be a good thing going into this race as well. If it's one of those things where if you realise, I could go out of here as championship leader, you get that extra bit of self-added pressure that maybe may force you into a mistake in the race. If you think the race is going well here, this could be on for some good points to take the championship lead. Could and just that lapse of concentration, and around here where the penalties are thick and fast when it comes to corner cutting, that sort of thing is going to be vitally important. And it also plays into the mind games sort of things where it's a track that's a lot more difficult to overtake. It's going to be a lot more about getting into the drivers around you's heads as you go around, making sure they know you're in their mirrors right up behind them. Just trying to force any kind of mistake you can, force a little bit of a corner cut, force them to maybe be driving in their mirrors just a little bit too much and make a mistake. And that is, I think, going to be the main thing we're going to see here, the mind games. It's a mental race now.
It's a mental capacity required for a 45-minute race. I mean, anyone that's jumped in a sim rig, anyone that's done these sort of racing themselves, and I would assume the majority of people in chat, because obviously you're interested within this, have done it themselves. You know how hard it is to concentrate for the entirety of the race, especially sometimes even worse if you're not under pressure, you make mistakes. Here is the grid, though, coming into the main race. Damian Sikorsky from Matt Firmini in first place. Rory McDuff second behind him on the grid. Could be challenging. Jimmy Nisula and his teammate alongside third and fourth. David Kalowski in fifth place. Adam Baldwin starting out in sixth. Turku Hakkinen down in seventh. And Christian Mikel in eighth. The two Nito Velux drivers there. Philip Dries, the sprint race winner, in ninth. And Yovski down in 10th after that. Penalty, always going to be kicking himself. Asensio and Krupi in 11th and 12th. Krupi wants to make up for that error in the first race. Matteo De Crop in 13th. Robin Panzer, fantastic drive for him. 8th place finish in 14th on the grid. Varconi and Castrazzi, I can't get his name right, in 16th. Fabio Ball and Johan Kerjan for Virtual Drivers TX3 in 17th and 18th. Giuseppe Pastore in 19th. And apologies, I missed 20th. Nico Bacchi, Taco Time in 21st. Nicola Pastore in 22nd. Nello Pastorini in 23rd. And Cameron Roger in 24th for Burst Esports. Gabo Hevesi in 25th. Remco Major down in 26th. Jan Veniger in 27th, and Roman Jakovic down in 28th. It means we have lost a car somewhere in between. I hate to see it, but it looks like it's happened. But, of course, let's talk about the start, because it is underway, ladies and gentlemen. We're already go. There is no back straight, no nothing, and it will be Rory McDuff that's trying to put the challenge in on Stakowski, and he has done it already. Well, look at this. Henry Sinnick also looking to try and go around the outside at the moment. Stakowski could try and make it work. Where are we looking from down here? I don't know where that was from, but this is going to be Adam Baldwin's bumper as he watches Jenny Minasula. Henry Sinnick could not make it work there, says Stakowski, under pressure still in that Porsche 911. But Rory McDuff, again, we see second place taking that lead. Pole position is a poison chalice, no doubt about it. But I want to look at what the heck has happened, because I do not see Erhan Yayovski at all. He has gone off the grid somewhere.
Yeah, I saw a lot of shuffling around, and he's DNF'd. Yayovski's DNF'd. You can see him down in 28th there with DNF. I saw a lot of shuffling going on the timing tower on the left-hand side there, so there was something going on in the background, and Yayovski's one of the ones that's come off really badly from it. There he is, sat in the garage, and that is definitely not where you want to be a minute and a half into a 45-minute race. And that might relieve a little bit of the pressure now from his championship rivals, knowing that he's not going to score any decent points here. So a solid race, they can really eat into his lead and overtake him in the championship, as Rory McDuff now is running away as the leader of this race, only a second ahead of Stepkowski, who in that Porsche is looking to struggle.
Robin Panzer's down in 23rd as well. Now, if I'm not mistaken, he started in about 13th or 14th. So he's down in 23rd, so clearly involved in something. Asensio also there, also was relatively around 13th, 14th. Krupi off DNF. Krupi started in 11th. Krupi started behind Yayovski, so clearly contact between Krupi and Yayovski. That's has to have what's been happened, so something has gone on further down there. But either way, that, as you say, is great for Christian Mikel. He is going to be looking golden right now as we look at his bonnet view of Kaluxay just ahead of him. Adam Baldwin, by the way, he's going to be looking at really improving his time, and there is Adam Baldwin looking to try and put the moves on Jimmy Nisula, and he absolutely has to, because look at the pressure behind him. Kaluxy all over his rear wing right now, and Adam Baldwin having to be defensive, tries to go to the right hand side, securing the inside line, and that is going to be, he should be able to hold it on the inside line here, Baldwin, because he will have the outside now if he doesn't turn in too soon, and Mikel may be able to benefit from this one around the outside. I don't think he's going to quite have the drive and does have to back out.
Yeah, absolutely, and while all this has gone on, Henry Sinnick's managed to get past Stepkowski into P2, so one of the satellite cars is released from this train, and he's going to set off down the road after McDuff. He's already...
All right, let's have a look. Let's have a look. This is Yayovski, so he's going about his business. Is he going to get clouted? Oh, he is. That's it is absolutely clouted, and that was indeed the one I was talking about. That's what's caused the craziness further down. That was Cameron Roger I saw going past in the burst. I did see that Jakovic actually made his way up a fair amount there. So yeah, I can say nothing Yayovsky can do about this one, I don't think. Yeah, just taken out. Just absolutely taken out. That could have been a lot worse. That could have been a lot worse, I think. I think he did well to actually keep it in the barriers, if anything.
Yeah, absolutely. They're all so close together there. As you say, like, this is Senshad's view. He had a bit of contact as well before it even happened with the Corvette, and then just you can't react quick enough when something like that happens, and just nowhere to go except for into Nijovski, and there's just the result of that carnage. Of course, it's not a very wide track, so yeah, unfortunate for quite a lot of people. Krupi and Nijovski coming off the worst, and I'm sure a few more driving around with a bit of damage as well. Not going to be great for them for the rest of the race. As McDuff continues to storm away out front. Cynic still trying to bring him in, and meanwhile, Cynic's teammate Jimmy Nishila still trying to find his way past that Porsche. Well, it's not really the car of choice for many people, the Porsche, rear engine.
Philip Dreiss was caught up in that as well by the looks of it, because he's down in 16th, so obviously he was probably trying to make avoidance more than anything, I think. So he's quite a long way off as well. So this is actually fantastic for Christian Mikel. This is like worked out absolutely perfect. And Adam Bolden, because Adam Bolden was obviously looking to break in and cause a bit of damage in the points as well, and he may well be able to do that now. So, speaking of Adam Bolden, there he is with Jimmy Nasula. Jimmy Nasula hot on the back end. I'm really trying to get past here, but Adam Bolden having a little look around, see if he can get past first, but Stokowski under pressure once again. This time Jimmy Nasula, who's already lost that position to Henry Cynic, and Nasula looking to do the same. A veteran of the scene, been around for a long time as well, Stokowski. These two drivers know each other very well from previous seasons, and I feel that this is only a matter of time before Stokowski gives way.
Yeah, absolutely. You can see he's hungry to get past, but every now and then he just has to drop back that little bit, and it drops him right into the clutches of Baldwin behind, and it's going to get very spicy between these three as we head around, and could see some opportunistic moves from Baldwin, as that was quite wide from Stokowski and the Porsche there, almost onto the grass, but still not quite giving enough for Nishila to make the move, so he's going to have to follow around for that little bit longer. And as we're saying about Adam Baldwin, he's now coming under pressure from Koloksai behind, so it's a four-way battle now between all these guys. Just look how close he is to the back of that Porsche as well. Absolutely all over the engine. And looking back, you can even read where it says Satellite Racing in tiny little text on the bumper there. That's how close he's getting.
Yeah, very close. I mean, you don't need a satellite, that's for sure, to read it. Hey, there we go. Dad jokes all night long. Let's have a look at the replay. This is from the start. Again, as I say, the Calamity, look at it, keep your eye on it. It was 11th place that actually caught out them in the end there. This was McDuff getting through at the very beginning. As it's always been the case, second place at Lime Rock does seem to be the most beneficial. This is the view from Henry Cynic, almost getting it done. Does eventually get it done and get past Stokowski in the Porsche there. But this is the catastrophe that happens. You can see Nijovski in there, so they're just getting absolutely wiped out. So that was two cars. So that was Turka Hakkinen and Philip Dreiss getting caught out. It actually benefited them. So they connected with each other. That's why we're seeing them down in 16th, because they missed this catastrophe that happens here as the cars bounce off the barriers and left and right, and then they start facing the opposite direction. All sorts of chaos happening there. That's how Philip Dreiss managed to avoid it. That's why I was wondering why he was down in 16th. So actually Turka Hakkinen looked like he wiped out him as well. And speaking of wiping out, oh my word, that was nearly the bumper of Stokowski getting a little kiss there from Jimmy Nasula.
Yeah, that very nearly ended in tears, because of course just a slight tap like that on a corner like that, it's going to be very difficult to not go around in a big circle. So very, very close. Nishila measuring it perfectly by the look of it on that move. Whether it was intentional or not, it did look pretty spectacular, and just showing how much pace he's got at the minute and how hungry he is to try and get past that Porsche, because he's all over the back of him now. It's been for a few laps, but as we've been saying all night long, it's very difficult to overtake around here, and just needs to try and find a place, and I think his best bet is going to be to try and get a better drive off the downhill and down here into Big Ben, trying to make a move. But Stokowski seems to be pretty solid off the final corner and not really presenting any of those opportunities to him.
I just wonder now, 10 minutes in, how many of these drivers, as I see one going very wide there, Philip Dries, who was the fastest driver out there, by the way, or second fastest in the sprint race, that's for sure, looking to try and make some moves. I just wonder how many of these drivers are going to be looking at possible drive-through penalties, of course, because we saw quite a few of them in the 15-minute sprint race. 10 minutes into this one, we're already under that pressure. Taco time is trying to deliver here as Nico Barkley on Jakovic. Jakovic, by the way, has gained, 8 places there, I believe it is, obviously due to all that chaos and carnage that happened. Cameron Roger in the Burst Esports, along with Robin Pansar in 18th. Robin Pansar finished 8th in the sprint race, so he's not going to be happy with his current position, but the two Burst Esports drivers side by side right now. It does look like Pansar, though, is starting to stretch away.
Yeah, and it looked like a bit of a moment there for Nico Barkley as well, coming off the top of the chicane. A little bit of a wiggle, managed to hold onto it for now, though, and still clinging onto the back of Roman Jakubovic. As Philip Dries, where did you come from?
I was just
right
seeing
up the inside.
I was just seeing Barkley. I'm like, he's really breaking quite early and backing away here. I feel like he's just like, you know what, I'm going to give this position up. I don't think I can challenge, because Dries has been all over the back of him, and you can see how quick he's going through the field. He is clearly a faster car, certainly on the circuit right now. Wide run there from Jimmy Nasula. That means he's not going to be able to have a chance on Stokowski this time around. It does give Adam Baldwin a little bit of a lifeline to have a peak. Speaking of peaking, Philip Dries is through again.
Yeah, that's. I think that might be the first time tonight we've seen him move through there. That's up at the right-hander at turn 4. So I believe. So must have had a good drive out of 3.
I think it was at turn 6 or 5 or 6. That was uphill.
Was it
yeah.
Was it the uphill?
Oh, he's through. He's through. Nisula is through. Third place taken away. Stokowski under pressure from Adam Baldwin as well behind him now. But Jimmy Nisula getting through. We knew it was only a matter of time. Stokowski was under pressure throughout. It's taken him around about 10 minutes to make that move stick. But that is the two drivers now both getting through, second and third. Let's see how now they can chase, because McDuff at the moment, a 1.5 second lead, is starting to run away.
Yeah, you can see Nisula has just been released now, and already a good few car lengths between himself and Stokowski, chasing after his teammate as we take a look back at a replay of Is This the Move? Coming out of turn 2. And yeah, it's going uphill. It was a wide moment for Stokowski then, just allowed him to slide that car past. And that's what we were on about with the mind games, and this was taking a look from Nico Barkley. And yeah, it was a drive just off the chicane from Philip Dries that allowed him to pull onside there as well. So some great moves being made all over the track, which just goes to show some of the talent these guys have, because it's very difficult to make a move anywhere that's not really turn 1.
Yeah, absolutely. To make a move coming out of the chicane, that's very impressive, but clearly, obviously, a big error forced out. Adam Baldwin's going to be looking to try and do the same as Stokowski now as they exit. This is the corner where he actually did go wide and got caught out and taken over, but not going to happen this time. Seems to have regained himself a little bit there as sort of figured himself back out. We'll keep our eyes on penalties. Keep your eye on that tower on the left-hand side. See where those penalties come out. This is a track that does seem to be forcing them. A lot of people running wide, whether it be on the inside or the outside, not really gaining anything, but it's still off the track limits, and it is being punished, no doubt about it. As you can see, though, Yayovsky, Krupi wiping out Yayovsky, in my view, certainly very early on there, and I don't think he's going to be happy with that one. This will be a track that he certainly writes off after getting that penalty with 30 seconds to go before the end of the sprint race. A penalty given to him, so he scored nothing really in that one, and then wiped out on the first lap here. And oh, hello, taco time.
I was about to say, yeah.
He's in the pits. What's going on, Nico? He's alongside Johan Yayovsky, sitting in his car on a grump.
Yeah, I was going to say, I was just taking a look at the timing tower. That's what's happened. Has he lost it coming out of turn 2 by the look of it? No, it's going into turn 3 even.
Well, I mean, the nice part. The nice part about that is you also saw, while Barkley was losing it, you saw Philip Dreiss making an overtake.
Yeah, all the action in one shot there, but just got a bit of a swapper on and couldn't correct it, and went in for a bit of an embrace with the Armco on the outside.
An embrace. Hopefully it wasn't a closed embrace. It wasn't like a full hug.
Just going in for a give the wall a bit of attention on the outside of 3, and taco time's over for this race, unfortunately.
Ooh, that looked like a decent exit from Adam Baldwin. Stokowski, very much under pressure. A little bit too much curb there given. Going a little wide again. Baldwin having a little peek, thinking about it. Going through the downhill. Will certainly be hot on his heels here. And Stokowski under pressure, but that's now also gone away from him because you can see how quick he was on the exit. And that's Baldwin having to be defensive once again from Kaluxy. Again, all over him in that purple Audi, ever present in his rear wing.
Yeah, and that was a bit of a mistake from Stokowski there. It's just allowing Baldwin to regain that gap, but he's bringing Kaluxy with him. And Kaluxy's been sniffing around for a while trying to make a move, and here is Baldwin once again right on the back of the Porsche. Just that mistake earlier on in the lap really brought him back into contention, and it's going to be all about that drive off the downhill again as we take a look at a replay of this is the move that Philip Dreiss made a little while ago, I think. This is one of the Burst esports cars right in front of him, and just diving at the inside.
I think that's Cameron Roger. He's just got past. Yeah, that was when, at that exact moment, was when Nico Barkley went off the circuit. And I got to be honest, Mr. Coffolino, in chat, to call Nico Barkley a failed noober is a little harsh, considering he is a former race winner in the GT Challenge and has also competed in the GT Pro, a veteran of the scene, and it's just proving that, yes, everybody can make a mistake. In this, obviously, we saw Yuyovsky doing that, 2 times GT Pro champion, making a mistake in the sprint race as he obviously caught himself a drive-through penalty. It happens to everybody. Nobody is infallible, that's for sure. But at the moment, Henry Sinnick at the front is chasing down Rory McDuff now. That's down to a half a second. That was 1.5 seconds when we looked at that a couple of laps ago. That was a very wide exit from Stokowski there. As Adam Baldwin continues on, him won't be close enough to make a move though as we go into the next the last 30 minutes of the race.
Yeah, so a third of the race down, 2/3 left to go, and already plenty of action for a track that has its difficult moments to overtake. We've seen plenty of them already, so I'm definitely not disappointed in that as we continue to watch this battle. Baldwin chasing down Stokowski. And that was a big cloud of the curbs there on the third apex of the chicane for Stokowski there. But still no chance for Baldwin just yet as he's taking a sniff up the inside. He may be carrying a bit more momentum down the hill now.
Oh, see, but he's gone too early. He's tried.
Forced his line, I think. The way he was carrying.
Hello.
Is that in the background? Is that Kaluxy in the background?
That is Kaluxy, yeah. Kaluxy backwards. So as we were watching Baldwin, clearly he's trying to make something work further down. And he's collected it now. Canastracci and Paul August Lana now up into 8th, and Fabian Barl as well in 9th. So that's putting way out of the picture. But someone that has gained from that is Christian Mikel, who's now up into 6th position and will be championship leader at the end of this race. So cracking move for him. Oh, Philip Dreiss off the circuit as well. He's tried to put too many moves on. It does seem that he's still ahead of Robin Panzer. Has he managed to hold ahead of Robin Panzer in 17th? I'd be surprised if he did.
Yeah, so we're seeing a few mistakes come out from everybody on the grid. As you were saying a minute ago, nobody's infallible. The sim rigs they're racing on. They may be all technology and robotic and whatnot, but the drivers definitely aren't. Everybody's susceptible to mistakes, and they're showing off.
Oh, look at this!
Just how many? And yeah,
look at this!
Train now for the lead.
Yeah, wow. McDuff must have made an error because Sinnick has gained even more. He's 0.2. Nisula also up his backside. So Rory McDuff must have had a bit of a bad lap a moment ago for him to be this close. But Jimmy Nisula, I doubt whether he's going to make a move on his teammate, but certainly is going to be thinking on the comms, I am quicker than you. So can you get out of the way? But Henry Sinnick, it's for him to do at the moment. Won't be able to make it work in this lap, that's for sure. It needs to be a lot closer than that coming into turn 1.
Yeah, as you take a look at a replay of what happened to David Kaloxai, and did he just lose it on his own at the final corner, or was he trying to make a move? There's Baldwin, as we were seeing, and yeah, he's just lost the back end at the final corner and collected very nearly took Christian Mikel out with him, and then we saw obviously Philip Dries, and this was another move on one of the first cars, squeezed onto the grass. And a bit of contact. And that's what happened with those two then, and that's why he was still ahead of Robin Pansal.
That's why, yeah.
Regaining onto the road was Robin Pansal was also off.
Yeah, a bit of a Hamilton Verstappen there in the corner. But was he in enough? Did he have his nose in there? Did Pansal turn in? I don't know. Jimmy, that's over to you, I'm afraid. Let him decide that one. Rory McDuff though holding the lead. Henry Sinnick and Usuna still up behind him. Apologies, Mr. Coffolino. I didn't realise you were actually Nico Barkley. You had yourself a bit of attacker time in turn 1. That was fine. He just went off a bit there. But it's caught quite a few off. Let's put it that way. And yes, Dries did actually keep hold of 17th, despite that off they had between themselves. But I think this will be a race he'll want to forget. Certainly won't forget the first race, though, because obviously picking up the win in the sprint there. But Adam Baldwin still very much on Stokowski. But again, just doesn't seem to quite have the downhill exit sorted. I feel like he's cutting it too much and just sort of, just losing the rear a touch. Whereas Stokowski in the Porsche... The Porsche is getting ahead.
There. Sorry to talk over you, Lee. As we were watching this fight, there was a car in the side there, off the road. What's that? Was that someone? Was that lap traffic maybe off the road? But there was somebody off on the outside of turn 1. Regardless, this is Jan Vennegat and Phil Dries going at it.
There is a car parked there. I just saw it there a moment ago as well. So there's definitely something there. Dries has actually crossed past Jan Vennegat, so up into 16th for him as he continues his charge through. We'll see whether he's going to get a penalty or not for later on given for his move on Robin Pansar. Continuing on though, let's have a look at the top 10 right now, because we do have some interesting drivers up there. So Paul Auguslana up into 8th at the moment. I'm pretty sure he started around about 20th. Somewhere around there. He was definitely in and around that sort of position. Fabio Ball also making move in the TX3 as well. So great to see these drivers up there. Turco Hakkinen, by the way, the recovery from him, if you remember, he connected with Philip Dries on the first lap, on the very first few corners. So definitely one to gain here. Let's have a look at the replays. This could be one of the cars. Oh no, it's Cameron. Oh no, is it going to be Cameron that was in the barrier? Is that the one we saw in the barrier? Oh dear. Okay, so coming downhill. Oh yeah. Oh, yes, squeaky bum. Oh, so close, but yet so far. And there goes the rear wing, and that's why we saw the signage in there. And I think he's probably got into this corner then, and probably realised he's got no rear wing and just lost it in the corner. Maybe. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah. So that's one of those moments where it's just no, yes, no, and then
overcorrected.
Going down into turn 1, maybe not realising he's got the wing, like, I'll turn in here. Wait, what? So going off the road, and that's quite unfortunate there for Cameron Roger, who was doing reasonably well in this race. Made up some positions.
He's back in the pits. It's all right. He's recovered it. Well, we'll see how he goes in there. He's currently 23rd. He might be able to get ahead of Santiago maybe, but we'll see. This is the battle for first place at the moment. Rory McDuff for Sito Nito Velux. Currently under pressure from the two satellite racing drivers, Henry Sinnick and Jimmy Nasula. Meanwhile, further down, Stokowski under pressure in that Porsche 911 by the deuces of Adam Baldwin, hot on his heels. And actually closing in slowly but surely on that battle is Christian Mikel. Oh, hello, battle for 8th and 9th as Turco Hakkinen goes in a little too hot onto Paul Auguslana, but it's all right. Is it a Bentley? It didn't even budge.
No, I probably didn't even notice, to be honest, in the Bentleys. Casually going around and then sees the Audi pulling alongside, like, oh, hello, mate. I'll keep this position. Carries on. But definitely eager to get past Turk-Hakkinen on that recovery, as you say. As we take a look at this was the move from Turk-Hakkinen. Sold him the dummy off to the outside, went up the inside, and just quite get it up the inside. The door closing. Trying to fit the Audi into a smaller than an Audi-sized gap.
Yeah, a bit of a torpedo, that one, a little bit close. Oh, that looked a little bit drifty from Rory McDuff there, but I think everybody else sort of followed suit. Might be one of those cases where you make the error everybody else does because they're all looking at your line rather than focusing in your own racing line, which Jimmy Nasula certainly seemed to be, as he's got a lot closer to Henry Sinnick there. But as I say, I don't expect him to put too many moves on his teammate, whether they are in the same comms channel or not. Either way, it is still your teammate. And you've got to make sure you don't wipe him out as he goes a wee bit white there on the exit and catching the grass. That's where we saw Yuyovsky actually picking up his drive-through penalty in the sprint race. By the way, I've really not spotted many drive-throughs so far, and we are 25 minutes into this race, so very surprised at the moment. Maybe people taking it a little bit more seriously. That again was almost looked like a bit of a catch there, didn't it, from Rory McDuff? He does seem to be fighting the Audi at the moment.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is one of the things we were talking about, or chat was talking about through the sprint race. The rear tyres on the Audi maybe not lasting as long as they would like. So we're 25 minutes into this race now. If they are rear limited in those Audis, then they could be feeling it. And that's going to make the next 20 minutes quite difficult for Rory McDuff, with the two McLarens breathing down his neck, as we get a nice picture of Daniele Canestracci as well, heading around in the Corvette. There's some yellow flags are waving away. I wonder if that's for somebody just going a little bit wide, or if somebody else has been into the barrier somewhere.
God, it really does look like he's almost catching it every time he goes around that corner. Sort of looks like it's on the right on the limit of just about losing the back end, and catches it just as he goes into the next corner. But yes, the highest running Corvette at the moment, the Callaway. Ooh, just as we watch him. Oh, Ruben, you put the kiss of death on him. Absolute kiss of death onto poor old Daniele Canestracci. Now, as he managed to get it back around, has not at the moment lost the position, because Paul August Lana was so far behind, but you can see them coming. Turk-Hakkinen and Lana, they're side by side coming into the mirror. Lana will be on just ahead of him. That is going to cause a problem, and now he's at the head of the train, and I'll tell you what, he's going to be a little rattled after that one.
Yeah, I've heard a curse of the commentator. It's this seemingly curse of the spectator today, and it's not the first time it's happened, unfortunately, but does just about hold on to the position. And yeah, I'm sure looking in the mirrors, it was a bit of a squeaky bum time there, seeing that Bentley getting closer and closer and closer as you draw towards the apex of turn one. But we're back to looking at this battle for the lead now. Sinnick still looking for a way past McDuff, but McDuff making that car as wide as humanly possible, as Fabian Bala sets the fastest lap time of the race. Nowhere near the top 10, so he's found some pace somewhere out there at the moment, and is really going for it.
Wait, where is Fabian Bala? Wasn't Fabian Bala like 8th a few moments ago? He absolutely was, so he's clearly had to either gone off the track somewhere along the line. We've missed that one, because he was definitely running up there. So, okay. While that's all happened, by the way, we've also should point out that Stokowski is now down in 6th. So Anna Baldwin and Christian Mikel both got past him. So there's a lot happened in the last few laps. It's suddenly all kicked off as we saw the Corvette going spinny. Henry Sinnick very much on the back. This is it. This is the chance. Right. Get a clean exit. That's what he's looking for. That is a good exit. Now he's got a real chance here going into turn one. Tucked in. Is he going to try and make the move early? Tries to maybe sell the dummy. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Very well drove by Rory McDuff there. Very clean. Just sticking in his line. Staying defensive. Didn't fall for any of the mind games that Henry Sinnick was trying to play. Yeah,
it just seems as wiggly as that Audi seems through the twistier parts of the circuit. Going down to turn one, it does just seem that McDuff's able to break that a little bit later than the McLarens behind, and that's just allowing him that extra bit of breathing room. As the spin for Daniele Canestracci, just not able to save it in time, and then whoop, into the barrier. And this was Kaloxai also having a bit of a moment.
Oh, so he's gone off.
That's turn 1. Did he keep it out the wall? Just about, I think.
Oh my word, they're all over the shop. That's
not Kaloxai. Is that what happened to Fabian Bala?
That's Fabian Bala, yeah.
That's a virtual driver's car.
That's Fabian Bala, absolutely, yeah. So he also had an off. So everybody having offs. That all looks like it's the last corner as well. That's the downhill, right? They've all had those moments in, it seems. So
yeah, I think that might have been turn 1 for Fabian Bala. Even just looking at the way the track was, just getting a bit too much of the curb, upsetting the car, and losing the back end.
All getting a little squirrely out there, isn't it? I mean, the track's meant to be rubbered in. Everybody's meant to be in the groove right now. But 30 minutes gone in this race, and things are getting a little bit hairy out there for a couple of drivers. Henry Sinnick for Satellite Racing, once again, putting the pressure onto Rory McDuff into turn 1. Not close enough this time. A little look, but I tell you, Rory is staying absolutely true so far in the lead. He is under pressure from the two Satellite Racings, but has managed to hold on. Now, I just wonder, while this battle carries on, we've got 15 minutes to go in this race. That's Turkka Hakkinen done, it seems, on the side of the road at turn 1. So he is gone. Don't know what's happened back there, but he's had a bit of a nightmare. 4th, by the way, I think it was in the sprint race for Turkka Hakkinen. So he's gained some points, but certainly not done well. He ended up contacting with Philip Dries in the first lap on the first few corners. In fact, actually was the first corner at the start of the race. Back to my point, though, I wanted to talk about how quick, I wonder, we may see Adam Baldwin catching up on Jimmy Nisula. We saw once Nisula got past Stokowski how quick he managed to gain, and I'm looking at the timing screen. It's already come down by a second. So while these front three do continue to battle, we may see Baldwin and Christian Mikel, who we know is also fast, gaining on them.
Yeah, and that's a bit of a wide moment for Henry Sinnick coming through there, but just about holds on to it for now. It might give McDuff a little bit of a breather going through the chicane though, but he's right back on the back of him once again. And yeah, with Baldwin and Mikel chasing these two down, we could see McDuff being the cork in the bottle, so to speak, right at the very top end of the standings in this race. And it could lead to quite a spicy ending. We've only got less than 15 minutes of the race to go. It's already a 3-car battle. There's some dust getting kicked up in the background there. So everybody's trying to push as hard as they can. I'm seeing a replay. This is what happened to Turkka Hakkinen. He was making a move. And just got tapped around.
Pit stop. Oh, and a roll.
A barrel roll or two as well. Whoa.
I mean, I couldn't tell whether that was Paul August Lana that turned into him or whether he just simply turned across. Thought he was ahead, maybe. I don't know. But either way, that is a big off. And no doubt about it for Turkka Hakkinen. So that's why he is done and dusted within this race. Currently, the top 10 definitely hotting up. Lots of changes in now. I would say the top 10's hotting up. I would say the top 5 is hotting up. I'm going to keep my eyes on those timing screens as once again, Paul August Lana, this is going to be the move, the pit stop move. I don't really know whether that was Turkka. I feel like that was Turkka trying to turn in to get the line.
Yeah, maybe just misjudging the size of the Bentley he was going past, and
it's a big thing, yeah. Pivoting
himself round, which is unfortunate, but that may be another one for Jimmy to take a look at after the race. He's going to be quite busy by the looks of things so far.
So talking about my point, Christian Mikel must be on the back of Adam Baldwin, if I'm not mistaken, by now. Judging by the timing screens, he's absolutely caught up. So he's caught up about 2 seconds, 3 seconds already since he got past Stokowski. So he's definitely gained. So that's down in 4th and 5th, of course. And they are, of course, chasing this. Now, if they are battling one another, it may actually slow them down. With just 12 and a half minutes to go here in this race, that equates to around about 16 laps, I would say, overall. There's enough time, but it's starting to run out there. As you see, Henry Sinnick getting a little squirrely, having to ease off and feather that accelerator. I do love seeing the accelerator dynamics, to see the accelerating brake, to see how much they can feather it and having to slam that brake on quick to catch it.
Yeah, it's great, especially on a track like this with so many different changes of direction, one after the other, with the chicanes and all of the the S's going up the hill. It's really great to see just how much throttle input they're able to give going up the hill as this is David Coloxai now all over the back of Paul August-Lana, and he's got his Mugen Sim Racing teammate of Zoltan Vakonyi just behind him, and there we are with the two purple Audis right next to each other in 9th and 10th. Paul August-Lana, the cork in this bottle. There's a few different trains forming as different cars maybe faster than others and different drivers out of position and so on and so forth. Does mean we end up with these situations on tracks like this where it's really important how well you can drive defensively, but if as we've seen, Coloxai's got a good drive off the final corner, defensive already as we're seeing from the Bentley, and trying to go around the outside then Coloxai and Paul August-Lana, but not quite able to do it on this occasion.
No, he's never going to get the switch back either. No chance he can get that switch back going. Back at the front, Rory McDuff under pressure for around about half of the race so far, as you can see. Gained that position at the start, was second on the grid and managed to get himself up in there early on. A couple of big movers and shakers, as you can see. Paul August-Lana, who we did just look at there, up 12 places because there was quite a few not only just collisions but just unforced errors. There's been a lot of people losing the back ends on certain corners. Turn 1 has been a victim to many, and as has turn 11, actually turn 7 technically, depending if you count in chicanes, etc. Do you count that as one corner? Do you count that as 3 corners? It really depends on what we're looking at the moment. But yeah, movers and shakers, certainly kind of strategy obviously doing very well in there. Stokowski obviously starting on the pole position, did lose out and has kind of gone backwards a little bit since then, but the two satellite racing drivers continuing. It's currently on the podium, 10 minutes to go. Can they get past Rory McDuff?
Yeah, it's a battle of the minds now as who's got the best mental capacity with 10 minutes remaining, and both of these two pressuring McDuff all the way to the finish by the looks of things, and it's nerves of steel at the moment for McDuff out there. He's been being hounded by them for so many laps and just managed to hold on. As we take a look at Coloxai now, he's trying to move again around the outside. Paul August-Lana has gone defensive early to the inside, trying to get it around the outside again. If he can hold on around the outside, he might have the inside for turn 2, but not quite able to, and robbing bumpers as Paul August-Lana pulls back out ahead. And yeah, it's twice in a row now Paul August-Lana has managed to pull that move off, and I'm thinking if you're behind the wheel of that car that David Coloxai's in, you're thinking, how can I try and make that happen differently next time around? Because Paul August-Lana seems to have Coloxai's number at the moment.
Well, I gotta be honest, look at this. Look at this black car looming behind them all. Philip Dries obviously started on second place, won himself the sprint race, and ended up getting collected by Turkka Hakkinen and taken down way down the field, and he's worked his way back up the field into 12th position right now, and he's looking at the back of this train with just 8.5 minutes to go and thinking, all right, that's actually a top 10 position right there. I might be able to make this work while they battle each other.
Yeah, and we've seen him already sort of come out of nowhere and steal positions away from drivers either that weren't expecting it or maybe thought, well, I'm not going to really be able to fight him, so I'll let him have that. We've seen it earlier on in the race as well, as that looks a little bit wide there from McDuff. That's going to let Cynic have a little sniff at the lead of the race. He's not quite close enough to make a move, but he's definitely going to be showing himself in the mirrors again, say keep doing that and I will have the lead of the race.
I think that's Johan Kurjan ahead of him as well, maybe. Oh no, it's Bala, I think. Bala in the Bentley. So back markers starting to come into it there, just to have a look. Once again, Paul August-Lana, a little chance from Coloxai to try and get alongside. Rinse, repeat perhaps this time. It does look like Lana once again with that inside line. It almost looks like Vakonyi is looking, okay, you go wide, I go up the inside, and together we might be able to get past him. We'll see how it works out at the moment. It doesn't seem to be working that way. Vakonyi looks like he just got a little tap from De Krop there, actually. Philip Dries very much on the back of De Krop as well now. That is the position from Philip Dries. Oh, hard on the brakes going into the chicane. Almost collected the back of De Krop there. Had to get a bit squirrely. You could see him fighting the wheel as he had to get hard on those brakes.
Yeah, a little bit of a panic moment for Philip Dries there as caught out by the Krop's braking, and here we are once again at the final corner, and Coloxai trying to find a way past, sitting in the slipstream. He's going to the inside this time. Paul August-Lana cuts across to slam the line, slam the door shut, and once again, Galaxy having to follow Paul Augustlana again. His defensive driving's been spot on so far, as that's a little bit wide for the crop, and that's going to let Philip Dryce have a look at it. Squiggly as well from the crop through turn 2, as that was Vakonyi making a little bit of a mistake as well. So they're all at it in this train, and all this time going on, Philip Dryce is looking at this thinking, where can I get past? I know I can get past, but where?
Yeah, where indeed. Also at the front. Oh, that's an error. That's a big error. Is Dryce going to get past? Yes, he is. Philip Dryce through on De Krop there. So De Krop just making an error. And that's a few times we've seen that, actually. Just coming out of the downhill section there. Back to the front. Jimmy Nasula and Henry Sinek actually backed off a little bit from Rory McDuff here. There are back markers starting to come into this. And I just wonder whether maybe they got caught up behind one at some point. But look at this. Adam Baldwin now right up behind them. Christian Mikel also coming into it. As you can see, back markers very much visible. Fabian Ball, I think they're just at the side, pulling out the way, so making sure he doesn't get involved. But that has definitely given a bit of a reprieve for Rory McDuff, but not for Adam Baldwin, because he has closed in on a podium position, and he may be looking at the 5-minute clock and thinking, you know what, there's a chance for another podium here.
Yeah, I mean, you touched upon it earlier on when that gap started coming down, and here we are, 5 minutes to go, and we've got the 3 McLarens lying astern, all looking and fighting for the podium. As we take a look at what's going on with De Krop, that was the mistake that allowed Philip Dryce to go through then around the final corner. You don't have to ask Philip Dryce twice. It was very tight through there, but just about managing to eke that move through, and now Baldwin, you can see, just 4/10 off the back of Jimmy Nishala. Or 5/10 now, so I didn't get the best drive off the final corner, but we'll be hunting this position down. Which of these McLarens is going to finish on the podium, and which one of them is going to miss out? I wouldn't want to call it yet. As difficult it is to overtake around here. These guys are going to get pretty feisty as the race ends, I'm sure.
Yeah, and these three all own McLarens, of course, so they're all going to be pretty much on the same pace and same lines, etc. So it's going to be tough for them, no doubt about it, but let's not forget Adam Baldwin was ahead of them before. Once again, we look at Paul Augustlana's Bentley floating around and keeping them at bay at turn 1 into turn 2 now, as Galaxy continues to look, but Vakonyi's got to be keeping his eye on his mirror, because Philip Dryce will be hunting. Oh, that is a very wide run, Galaxy. Now he's got to give that position to Vakonyi. Now the question is, will Dryce get through? Yes, he will. That's into the chicane. Very ballsy to try and force the move. Speaking of ballsy, look at this. That is Nasula having a move on his teammate Henry Sinek there, and that's actually going to keep Adam Baldwin at bay. He's going for the switchback, might be able to work it, but this is going to come up to the chicane. He surely has to back out here. No, connects, collision with Nasula. They're going into the chicane. You cannot fit 2 cars through there. Nasula is the one that gives up, and Christian Mikel now looking to make a move and get past Nasula. Everybody looking for those podium positions with just 3.5 minutes to go.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what was going on with the Satellite boys there. They've been playing the team game the whole race by the looks of things, just with Nishala following Sinek around, and maybe he got bored of looking at the back of his teammate, thought the move was on, and it's really cost him. He's dropped behind Baldwin, and Michel's all over him, and we'll take a look at a replay of exactly what happened. So it was actually a wide moment from Sinek into turn 1, allowed Nishala up the inside. Meanwhile, Adam Baldwin's thinking, hello, there's a move on here. They carried on going side by side through turn 2, and then as we saw, just not enough room for them all. And
I gotta be honest, like, you're looking at that was just too much respect given by Nasula. He was ahead of Sinek, could have turned in and actually cost himself there. Well, that's going to be a bit laggy there, isn't it? Don't worry, they're not going into Narnia. Yeah, absolutely. And that's actually cost Nasula. He was ahead. He could have turned in on Sinek, but gave him a lot of respect. Obviously, it is his teammate. Didn't want to collect him because that would have cost him second and third. And in the end, it cost him a place, which, in fairness, he had taken it. He was up into second. It was a great move, but just a little too much respect shown, and that gave Adam Baldwin, well, he didn't need to think twice in it. Look at this. This is actually down Philip Dryce. That was when Vakonyi went wide. Of course, we just caught a glimpse of that, and we knew that he was going to squeeze on through. So Dryce, ballsy move going into the chicane. Well, we thought it was ballsy until we saw Adam Baldwin make his move.
Yeah, everybody trying to get moved on anywhere they can with just 2 minutes left. It's less a case of try and plan your attack now and more seize opportunity as their time slowly ticks away. And now Baldwin, he's taken one of the podium positions, but you get the feeling he's not quite satisfied with just the one. He's already challenging the other one now, but the issue is coming back at him as we head down towards turn 1. He's trying to go around the outside, side by side, around they go. If Nishu can hold on, he just about can't for now, has to slot back in behind. But they're all very, very close, these three, and Mikel is licking his lips at the prospect of something going awry for any single one of them. And he'll be right there on it, stealing that position away.
Absolutely. And let's not forget, at the end of the sprint race, 30 seconds to go, Erhan Yuyovsky was running in second, got a drive-through penalty. So anything can happen. You've got to keep your eye in it, make sure you have a chance at taking one of those positions. Real tentative stuff here as they try and almost go 3 wide there. That was when Nisula, honestly, just before that slow-mo there, I think he could have turned in. I think he could have, honestly. But you know what? You got to give your teammate a lot of space, and that's what he did. Mikel is through. Christian Mikel is through and up into 4th, and just like that, Nisula sees his podium slip away, and now he's down into 5th. An absolute disaster for him there. Ironic, don't worry about those Bentleys behind. They are back markers, the 2 TX3 drivers. They've had a bit of a nightmare, no doubt about it. But Fabio Bar, let's not forget, he's a very good driver, and he's quite happy to keep up in the back of these cars as they fight for position. Just want to make sure he doesn't get a little too close.
Yeah, I mean, I said a little while ago, I didn't want to call who was going to finish on the podium, which one of the McLarens. I didn't count in the Audi, though. He's looking pretty handy as the race comes to a close. That looked like a bit of a wiggle there from Baldwin as well as we headed through the downhill. And he's all over the back of Henry Sinnock now. Then you can see them pulling away. Sinnock trying to break the toe, but Baldwin's pulling across to the outside. Christian Mikel's going to be involved in this as well. So Adam Baldwin's going to have to be really careful as we head into the first corner for the final time. But they're staying as they are for the moment. Now Adam Baldwin trying to find any opportunity he can. He knows this is his last chance, his last go around the circuit. Just less than a minute to go in this race, really, because of the short lap time around here. So he's not got many corners to make a move. He's going to be sniffing all over the back of Sinnock as we take a look from Yumi Ishula's point of view. And trying to move anywhere. You saw him taking a look up the chicane there as well on the exit. And that looked a little bit wide. Christian Mikel's now looking to try and come into it as well. And they're battling all the way to the end of the final lap. And now, as we head through the downhill, can he get anything done? Sinnock's just about managing to make it as wide as he can. Meanwhile, Rory McDuff takes the win in the 45-minute race.
Oh,
that was wide.
It was Mikel. Mikel went wide. Yeah. Nisula got past him. Just as we cut away, we saw Mikel going wide onto the grass on the downhill. So he ends up in 5th. Nisula retakes his position. But what a fantastic drive for Adam Baldwin there. Here's a repeat of what we just saw in the background. So in the end, just a little bit wide. Oh, that's Pastorino. He's gone more than a little bit wide there. The Satellite Racing. Don't worry, that's not the Satellite Racing of the front drivers. Oh, was that in front of them? Oh no! They're all weaving out of the way of it. That's why he goes wide, and that's how Nisula got past. Oh my god! And that's actually a Satellite Racing car that got in the way. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, controversy.
You can't script this, can you? GT Challenge coming up with the action and the drama right at the end of the race is.
I'll tell you what, if you could script it to say, hey, teammate, if you could just spin it and bounce off the barrier on the final corner, that would be actually impressive if they could choreograph that. But yes, I don't think so. Just very convenient. But here it is, Rory McDuff, the winner of the race, under pressure for a lot of it there, actually starting out in second place. Henry Sinnock second in the end there. Adam Baldwin third place in sprint and the main race, so congratulations to him. Maximum points for him, no doubt about it. Jimmy Nisula in 4th in the end. Also for Satellite, after taking Christian Mikel on that final corner. Christian Mikel first in the sprint race, though, so he's not going to be too upset about that. He will be the championship leader right now. Adam Baldwin will be hot on his heels, actually, I think, with 2 third places as well. Daniel Sikowski, by the way, starting out in pole position in the main race, ended up in 6th place. Daniel Canestracci in the end, 7th place for him. Paul Augustana, he held on so many times. You shall not pass the Volanti Bentley. And he holds in at 8th place with both Zoltan Varkonyi, who obviously we saw in the Mugen, taking over his teammate as he ran wide. Philip Dryce in the end down in 11th place, so he lost the place overall. Of course, the driver... tell a lie, Philip Dryce actually won the first race. I'm losing my mind, but Christian Mikel came second, didn't he? De Crop in the end, obviously we saw him losing out his position, so 12th for him. Gabo Havesi in 13th. Some great moves from him. He started down in 27th, so he really gained a lot of places, as well as Roman Jakovic, who also started down in 28th position. He's ended up in 14th. Remco Mignon in 15th. Jan Vennegar in 16th. Giuseppe Pastore and Nicola Pastore, the two teammates and family members, I believe. Nicola are both of Musto GD, so hello to them in chat. I see them in chat. Fabian Bal, we saw him having a couple of offs, 19th position for him in the end of the Bentley, as well as Nello Pastorini, who we just saw in the satellite racing, going off on that final corner right in front of his teammates. And a bunch of DNFs. Some big important DNFs, Paul, like Erhan Yayovski in turn 1. He will not be happy about it. There was nothing he could do. He was completely taken off. Certainly one I expect to see some penalties being applied going into the next track.
Yeah, I think Jimmy's going to be busy with that after that race. There was a fair few moments we saw that might incur a bit of a slap on the wrist for a few of the drivers, but no, yeah. And Yayovski going off at turn 1 with all the incidents that went off in that race. Yeah, just having to sit and watch from the sidelines as his championship lead erodes away and gets taken away from him as well by Christian Mikel. Well, no doubt in my mind he's going to come back strong when we head over to Loch Drummond in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah, and for a track that honestly there's not a lot of overtaking chances, actually had quite a lot of action. I'm really quite impressed with how it all played out. Obviously we had generally unforced errors, some were forced, no doubt about that, but overall very, very well driven by some of the drivers out there. Some fantastic overtakes, actually. Obviously, we saw Philip Dryce making some brilliant moves as well as he worked his way back through the field. Very impressive, the fact that he got took out in turn 1 of the first lap, managed to work his way back up to 11th place from a 10th place start. Obviously, he was the pole position. No, tell a lie, it was a 9th place start, wasn't it? Because he wasn't on pole. Yayovski was. But yeah, managed to get back up there. Turka Hakkinen wiped him out. He went out in the end. He got took out. Lots of crashes. If you want to make a highlight package of that one, well, we know exactly where they're going to be. There's cars going off left and right. We had Turka doing a gamble down the back straight as well. All sorts of actions. But yeah, fantastic tournament so far. The championship hotting up. As we have a new championship leader as well. That will be either Christian Mikel or actually Adam Baldwin after his great 2 third places. But as you can see, Loch Drummond, it will be on a Thursday, the 23rd of September. That will be round 4. Of course, then we're going to Spa and Indianapolis to finish off the series. The halfway point has been hit, Paul. What a fantastic race. Any final thoughts for you?
Well, yeah, as you say, the championship hotting up at the halfway point, and what we thought might be a runaway for Yayovski is looking like he's going to get challenged more and more as time goes on. So with the remaining 3 races, the pressure's on and the race is on.
Absolutely, the race is indeed on. We will see you, ladies and gentlemen, on the 23rd of September for round 4 of Loch Drummond. You will not want to miss it. The GT Challenge Season 4 is absolutely spicy. And don't forget about, of course, the Formula Pro and Formula Challenge that are happening. That will be on the Monday, of course, the Formula Pro. And then, of course, the GT Pro will be happening on the following Monday. Lots of action here at rFactor 2 Live. You're going to want to follow the channels wherever you may be watching. We'll see you next time.
See you later.